Golden State, for a 5th consecutive season, they're headed back to the NBA Finals. A historic run for Golden State continues.
You know, 5 straight finals, the historic nature of what that is, kind of crazy to think about.
It's what you play for. This is our goal every year.
We know 4 more wins defines your season, so got to stay locked in.
Kevin Durant will travel with the team to Toronto for Game 1 of the NBA Finals, but he will not play. There he is, getting on a plane to Toronto. Here's head coach Steve Kerr from yesterday on Durant's status.
KD's not playing Game 1. I think we already announced that, and we'll see where it goes from here. This is where, you know, the fact that there's a lot of days in between games during the finals helps us. So we'll see.
Time to welcome in the one and only. I'm going to call him Doc Rivers. I know you call him Glenn, but I'm going to call him Doc
Just
Rivers.
to annoy him, actually.
He's from Chicago.
Coach, there's so much that's been going on about Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors. First of all, welcome to the show, but I got to ask you this question. When we talk about the Warriors, what type of team do you view them as without Kevin Durant, particularly with all of this noise about how much they're so good without him?
Well, they're still a championship team. You know, they've proven that before. They don't have the supporting cast that they had before Durant, if you remember. They don't have all those guys, but they're still a championship team. They're just not as good without him. Listen, I saw them in the first round, and I saw them with KD on the floor, and they're really good with him. So they're just
How are they different, Doc, though? There's something about them.
but they do it then. You know, when KD's on the floor, you know, Steve Kerr's a smart coach. He gives the ball to KD and allow him to be KD. When he's off the floors, when they have more movement. They have movement with KD as well. Right. I think that narrative out there that they don't have movement when KD's on the floor is not true. They really do, just not as much as when he's off the floor.
It's interesting that you say that because, Magic, I'll ask you, both of you were point guards, obviously. He's a coach, but you were a point guard, is obviously a point guard, Hall of Fame point guard. My question to you is, when you look at this team without KD, what is it that you're seeing from them that makes the Golden State Warriors so effective without him?
Well, you allow Draymond Green to touch the ball more, right? So he gets the quarterback more than he would with KD. And Doc's right. There's no way that Golden State is better without Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. That's never going to happen. And anybody who thinks that is crazy. Now, what happens is the ball moves. You see Draymond will be at the top of the key. Clay and Steph will be coming around 2 or 3 picks. Draymond will decide where he wants to throw it. As soon as he passes, he'll go away and pick for that other guy. And Clay or Steph will come off of him. And it's consistent movement. They know they have to move more without KD because KD you can throw the ball to and he can make his own shot. Those other guys, they get it more on the flow or in a pick and roll situation.
It's the same thing with Phil Jackson and the Lakers with the triangle, or the Bulls with the triangle. When Michael was on the floor, the triangle, they didn't run a lot of triangle.
Right.
All right. When he was off the floor, the triangle allowed everybody else to touch the ball and move the ball. That's all they're doing. It's very similar. It's just a different offense, but it's the same stuff.
And last but not least, they run the break more. See, because they know they got to get easier baskets without KD. Yeah. See, because now you're missing that weapon in the half-court game where you can just, the shot clock is winding down, throw it to Kevin Durant. He going to go get you a basket.
Essentially said that. I mean, he said at one point, I don't know which series, I guess the last series, that they can get a little lazy because they know they can just throw it into Kevin, and it speaks to what they know they have. The ultimate weapon, isn't it?
It's a great weapon. It's a great weapon.
All right, so what does this do? What does this do defensively? I mean, we just saw Kawhi Leonard effectively be the head of the defense that walled off Giannis Antetokounmpo and took him out of it. What are the responsibilities going to be now for Kawhi Leonard defensively? Where would you have him?
Oh, he's going to guard Clay, you know, and he'll guard Steph as well. No, I think he'll guard Clay more, you know, but he'll guard both. You know, the thing with Toronto, they have so much length. that they're going to be able to switch a lot of stuff. And that guy can guard each guy. You know, Siakam can guard. They have a lot of guys that can guard. So Toronto's going to be able to defensively switch a lot of things that will give Golden State problems.
I think that Gasol won't be as effective in this series. Ibaka going to probably play more, right? Because just what you talk about, his length, size, and his ability to still score. And he knows how to play Draymond. He knows how to play the Warriors. He's played against them. And also, the good thing about it, so has Kawhi. Kawhi has played against the Warriors. So it's no surprise for them. They said, okay, we know how to play against the Warriors. The thing's going to be the key is Toronto's bench, to me, is better than the Warriors.
That's where I was going, right, Magic, because, see, forgive me, because I know y'all working out all the time in the gym, you know, running. It's been a while since I've done it. It's been a while, y'all. I guess I'm asking this. Is it appropriate for me to think that when it comes to the Warriors, there should be some degree of concern for your lack of depth? I know we've seen Looney, Bell, Quinn Cook to a lesser degree, McKinney. I get that. But when you talk about the Warriors, you're talking about their core. And if Toronto uses their depth, isn't there a reason to be concerned about Golden State?
Oh, no question, because when you go to that bench, Toronto go with guys who can score and have been scorers, right? Fred is a scorer. You know, Ibaka can score as well as defend. So I think that they lean on their bench, Toronto, more for scoring than actually Golden State. What Golden State do, they leave a starter out on the court with the reserves.
But that's the difference. That's the difference now without KD. See, when we played them in the playoffs, we couldn't wait for one of them to go off the floor.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, we knew we had Lou and Trez coming in. The difference is now without KD, there's only one on the floor. Before, what Steve did was he always allowed two to be on the floor and one the rest. And to me, against a great bench, it makes it difficult to do that.
Well,
that's where Toronto comes in. Yeah.
Boogie Cousins has been out since April 15, hasn't played since Golden State's second game of the playoffs against you guys. Do you put him right back in?
I don't know. That's tough. If he's healthy, you're going to play him. I mean, let's be honest. But it is tough. The other thing that we all miss is in our series, all right, by game 4, by game 3, we had to make a switch. We took our 5 off the floor, just like Magic was saying, and we started a 4, Jamaica, at the 5. You think of the next series, they did the same thing. Cantor wasn't playing as much. They start playing smaller, quicker guys. You just said Gasol. He probably won't play as much, and that's what happens. You have to match up to Golden State's movement, and you have to have someone up when those guys are coming up those screens, or they will kill you, and that's what we did.
Magic, talk to me about what it's like leading up to Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And it's two different scenarios. You got a team and a reigning defending 2-time champions that have gone to the Finals. This is their 5th consecutive year. You got a franchise in Toronto that's never been to the Finals. Kawhi's been there. Yeah. Serge Ibaka's been to a Final. Kawhi has won a Finals. Yeah. But for the most part, a vast majority of those guys have never gone to the NBA Finals. So what's it like for the two teams going into Game 1?
Well, I think that Golden State, they're relaxed.
Yeah.
They've been there, done that. I think the problem is more with Toronto because they don't know what to expect. Now it's more interviews. There's more ticket requests. See, outside obstacles might hurt Toronto. And I'm talking about just everybody pulling on them, everybody wanting something from them. Where Golden State, they said, you know what, we've been there, done that. We take care of our tickets ahead of time. We don't let our families come and bother us during this championships because their family has been through it. So I worry a little bit about Toronto being their first time. But I will say this, I'm worried about Golden State on that first game because I'm going to actually pick Toronto to win that first game.
Rust, right, Irvin?
9 days, come on. One thing that you love as a basketball player is this, staying in a routine and rhythm.
Yes.
And when you haven't been bumped, Doc, tell them, when you haven't been bumped on your shot, that first time you get that bump, you're off and the ref's not calling it, you miss every single time.
Yeah, and you can't do it during practice.
No.
Like the times you win early and you get all that rest is great. But just the routine, being out of it, and the intensity, it's even worse for a rest in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because when you jump back in the playoffs, it's not jumping back in the regular season at the All-Star break. You're meeting a team that has been in playoff intensity, and
That's
you've
right.
had 9 days off, that's a lot of off time.
Isn't this why, didn't Pat Riley take you all to Hawaii for like a camp?
Santa Barbara.
How did I get Hawaii in there?
He took us
But he
to
made
Santa
you have a
Barbara.
camp, right?
Yes, and we probably had 3 full scrimmages, games with referees.
How did game 1 go?
Not too good.
Was that the one they lost by 40? Was that the one you lost by 40?
Well, we got beat by Detroit. We had all
Okay,
that time off. Detroit came in and beat us game 1. Look, if I was Golden State, I would want no time off. They were playing so well. Steph Curry was playing better than I've ever seen him play before. On fire, so relaxed, letting the game come to him. He was shooting outstanding. Draymond Green was making all the plays, averaging almost a triple-double in that Portland series. And I tell you, the guy who really probably got helped with KD going down was Clay.
Yeah.
Clay now knows he's going to get 20 to 25 shots again.
Yeah, the third guy on any dynasty never gets as many shots.
That's right.
You know, Ray Allen didn't get as many shots as he used to. Chris Bosh. That doesn't mean they're not as good.
Yeah.
But there's always a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and that guy doesn't. I was in the same situation as Nick Nurse in a lot of ways. Like when we went and played the Lakers and won the title, we had a bunch of guys that hadn't won. And for me, it was about them seeing that this was part of the necessary dream. So it wasn't about, I didn't want them to think about you're playing in the NBA Finals. I wanted them to think this was necessary to play in the NBA Finals to get to where you're going.
I got you.
And so Toronto, if this has been their goal, this part of it should just be part of the process. And that's the mindset they have to have going.
By the way,
into
the last coach in the Western Conference to beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series.
How about that?
that tells you how good.
Doc.
That tells you how good they are.
We got a lot to discuss. We got a lot to talk about this upcoming NBA Finals. Coming up on this Sports Center special, Kawhi Leonard has been straight balling this postseason, but where will his help come from in the finals? Magic, Doc, Wilbon, and yours truly. Discuss all that and more up next. In Los Angeles, I'm Stephen A. Smith. This guy next to me needs no introduction. The one and only Michael Wilbon. Thanks for being here. Fans, we got a special Sports Center show for you tonight.
Thanks, Stephen. That's right. If you're a basketball junkie, you want to stick around for the next hour. Irvin Johnson will join us to address the latest Lakers story by ESPN's Baxter Holmes. But we are primarily here to preview the NBA Finals, starting with what the Warriors will do without Kevin Durant in Game 1. We'll also talk about Kawhi Leonard's defensive responsibilities and how they may affect his offense. And by the way, a guy named Glenn Rivers, coach of the Clippers, will join us live right here in the studio to break down the NBA Finals. So let's do it.
We understand how hard it is to win at this level.
It's what you play for. This is our goal every year.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
It will be a tall task.
I'm not afraid of the moment. I enjoy it.
I won't give up on my hopes and dreams.
Gives it to Leonard. Bang! Bang! Blocked by Green. He is untouchable.
4 more wins and get back to celebrating.
The crew is in the house. Welcome to this special Sports Center edition, NBA Finals preview. Mike Wilbon to my left, the one and only Irvin Magic Johnson in the house right here next to me, and of course, your man.
Like old times now.
Yes,
We've done this a few times.
We've done this a few times, no question. But first, let's handle some business here. We need to address ESPN's Baxter Holmes and his article on more behind-the-scenes turmoil for the Los Angeles Lakers. Here's Shelley Smith with a recap.
When Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka were handed the keys to the Laker Kingdom in February 2017, nobody expected this. Disharmony, distrust, anxiety attacks, allegations of backstabbing, abuse, and basically sheer chaos when Magic quit 2 years later. Fans thought they were saviors. Showtime was back, and all would be right in Lakerland. But you cannot take drama out of LA. Pelinka accused Johnson of not working hard. Magic accused Pelinka of backstabbing. Both are accused of intimidating employees to the point that 2 had panic attacks. Magic said he never disrespected anyone. According to Baxter Holmes' story on ESPN.com, Pelinka made up a story about Kobe Bryant meeting Heath Ledger for dinner to talk about how he locks in a role. The meeting was tied to Ledger's iconic role as the Joker in The Dark Knight. But one of Holmes' sources with direct knowledge said the dinner never happened, and Ledger died 6 months before the movie was released. During the 2018 draft, staffers in one war room strongly suggested taking Villanova power forward Omari Spellman. Instead, Pelinka and Magic, in another war room, chose Moritz Wagner from Michigan, where Pelinka had played his college basketball. Pelinka has been known to sit in coaches' meetings, irregular for an NBA GM. And Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, weighed in on not only trying to get rid of head coach Luke Walton, but also was trying to get players traded for a superstar, in particular the Pelicans' Anthony Davis. Paul had so much access to the team that, as Holmes reported, rode on the team charter. Highly unusual, although Paul said it happened only once. Still, players told Holmes Paul's career presence was destructive and, quote, a culture killer. When the Davis trade fell through, after players were dangled as trade bait, one Lakers coaching staff member told Holmes, guys know there's no trust there. So what happens now this summer, in one of the biggest free agency periods yet? If the Lakers can't land someone to move the needle, they could be facing their 7th season without making the playoffs.
Now, here we are for the Sports Center special, and obviously we will get into the NBA Finals because that's primarily what this show is about. But you see what has been written, whether it's Rich Paul having too much influence, whether it's Magic Johnson, you yourself, 2 sides to Magic Johnson, the one that smiled before the camera and the one who was practically tyrannical as a leader for the Los Angeles Lakers. Your response to these reports?
I've been in business 35 years. I've had partnerships with some of the biggest companies, Fortune 500 companies in the country. Now, I've never sat in an HR person's office in 35 years. 2 years with the Lakers, no HR appearance. Jeannie Buss, do you think Jeannie Buss will allow me to abuse the employees? If that was the case, she would have called me in. Joe McCormick would have called me in, the lawyer for the Lakers, as well as Dan, the other lawyer. It never happened, right? I'm a person who brings everybody together, uplift the employees. I've never abused an employee, and I never will. That's not what I'm all about. Now, Rich Paul had access to the Lakers because he had 2 clients with the Lakers. He called and said, hey, I'm in Brooklyn. We talked about allowing him to fly back with the team. That's the only time he flew with the team because he was in Brooklyn, and I allowed him to do it. That was on me. I allowed him to do that. Then let's go to, Rob and I, when we were there, we worked well together. But the little things that was going on behind the scene, that bothered me. And last but not least, lazy, I have built a $600 million business. You cannot be lazy going from playing basketball and winning 5 championships. So I wasn't lazy as a player, and I'm not lazy as a CEO and a business owner. That's never going to happen. I was brought up in Lansing, Michigan. My father worked for General Motors for 30 years, never missed a day, never was late. Do you think he going to allow me, with 6 sisters and 3 brothers, to be lazy? Not a chance. Now, last but not least, I worked for ESPN for 2 different separate occasions, right? Worked for him, I think, a total of maybe about 8 years. Worked with that man right there. Let's ask, why didn't he ask every ESPN employee, did I ever abuse them? Never happened, right? We work well together with Stewart, with JB, with Michael. I'm a guy that will tell you the truth. Now, a lot of Laker employees didn't like that I held them accountable. That's what my job was. Did I have to fire some people? Yes, because we had to bring about change and get better. And I think we got a great staff. I will say this right now. The Lakers got a great staff. What's got to happen now is we got to get out the news. I'm really upset that I'm sitting here talking about that because I should be talking about Steph, Clay.
Oh, you will.
Draymond.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Kawhi. That's what I want to be talking about. And I think today will be my last day until July when I come on First Take, because I want to thank you for allowing me to come and tell my truth on First Take. And I'm going to come back and talk about what happened in the offseason. That's the next time I'm going to talk about the Lakers in July.
Last thing that I want to get to. By the way, I missed the lazy part on Sunday when you would call and get me up earlier and say, can we get to the studio? And you had already had meetings. I'm sorry I missed that part. What would you do differently? As owning as many successful businesses and ventures, and some of them you created, what, if anything, would you do differently? And is basketball so different that you would approach it differently, Irvin?
Well, I would have hired my own people from the beginning. The one thing I didn't get to do is hire everybody that I wanted, right? Rob and I got put together. I inherited Luke Walton. So I didn't get to hire my own people. And so then you can judge me. Hey, you can judge me by trades I made. You can judge me by I didn't have enough shooters. Yes. Did I do some things wrong? Of course. And I admitted those things. I'm not a guy who's going to run from the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. And also, you can talk bad about me. If I did something wrong, I don't mind that. Whether it's on ESPN or other shows. Say that Magic made mistakes, because I learned from my mistakes. But I'm going to also tell you what I didn't do. I've never gotten called from Starbucks, from Sony when I had to deal with Magic Johnson Theaters. I can keep going right now. Sodexo, all the partnerships I have, the Dodgers and Guggenheim. Nobody has ever called me and said Magic mistreated an employee, ever. And that would never happen. I love coming in. Even here, I still know all the people here, working here. What's the first thing I do? Oh, he's still here. How you doing? That's who I am. And so it's okay if you want to try to lie on Magic. Go ahead. But I know the truth. Jeannie knows the truth, because if I had disrespected somebody, she would have called me in her office. And that never happened. HR would have called me. It never happened. 2 years, never.
Good enough for you?
Yes, sir.
Good enough for me?
Yes, sir.
It's time to talk some NBA Finals, y'all. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Coming up next on this Sports Center special, Clippers head coach Doc Rivers will join the show.
One of the best in the league.
That's right. We'll break down how Kevin Durant's injury will impact the Warriors in Game 1. So keep it locked right here. Do not touch that dial.